Hello everyone, this is Sharon here from TechOS, and today I'm going to be taking a look at what was announced at WWDC 2015. Now, Apple have just closed the event. I watched the whole keynote, and now I'm going to go through some of the things that were announced and give you my thoughts on what Apple announced. So I'm just going to go to Safari, and I have opened the web page on the Apple US site. It hasn't been updated for the UK yet. So let me just go back here. First of all, obviously we have the WWDC website. You can just click here to go view the keynote. We have Apple Music. Now, Apple Music is a streaming service that Apple have done, and I'm not going to go through that in this video. I'm actually going to do that in a separate video, so look out for that video. Here we have OS 10 El Capitan preview. Now, this is the next version of OS 10. And it's coming this fall, and what it does adds lots of features. It adds things to the experience and the performance of your Mac. There's now a split screen view, so that's something that's quite nice. A lot of people have been waiting for that. There's a new way of using mission control that allows you to have a more streamlined view, and you can view your desktop in the background, and has a cleaner interface for viewing your various windows that you have open. If you've lost your cursor, you can just shake your finger back and forth on the trackpad, or just give your mouse shakes and give your mouse sort of a shake, and the cursor will get bigger, so it's easier to spot on the screen. So that's a nice feature. Spotlight has been updated to include weathers, stocks, and you can add web videos inside of Spotlight searches. You've got Mail, which adds a lot of new features, so you can work in a better way in full screen, and the Mail is smarter, so if you get an invitation, it will automatically add it. And there's now swiping gestures using the trackpad, just like in iOS, so to trash emails and that sort of thing. The Notes app has been revamped, so you can now use Notes in a more sort of advanced way, and there are more features within Notes, such as checklists, as you can see here, and you can add different fonts and that sort of thing. I will have obviously a detailed review on the new Notes app when El Capitan comes out. You have attachments in Notes, and you have obviously Notes in iCloud Drive. Here we've got Photos, which goes through photos and adds a few more features to make it a sort of richer experience. We've got new Safari features, so we've got pinned sites in the top in the tabs bar instead of having that separate place at the top. And you can use AirPlay now with Safari, so that's something that's quite nice. You can now mute tabs if you're listening to music on one tab, and then you decide to switch to another tab. You can mute it on a tab, so that if you're listening to music on another tab, you can mute the tab before, if that makes sense. So you can, instead of having loads of different music playing at once, you can have focus on just one. Maps is got Transit, which is a really cool feature, which will be useful for many people who use public transport. Get different kinds of directions. I mean, obviously you can set it off to your iPhone. I have a detailed video on that. Your Mac now has more sort of language supports, new features for Japanese users, such as and more other character-based languages, something quite nice. And then we come to performance. Now, Apple have moved Metal to the Mac now, so there's now developers can now take advantage of Metal and incorporate Metal features into their apps, and obviously add better performance to your Mac. So you have the figures down here. We can use the beta program, and Apple also announced Swift 2, which is a sort of new, better version of Swift that adds more features and gives more capabilities to developers. And yeah, so that is OS 10 El Capitan. If I go a lot up, if I go to iPhone, I still got iOS 8 there. So I'm going to go back to Apple, and I'm going to go here, El Capitan. Okay, iOS 9. So Apple have unveiled iOS 9, which is also coming this fall. It's got a better experience, added more features. So we have built-in app and better built-in apps. So we now have a news app, and I'm going to go through all of this over here. So we have a news app here, which incorporates news. It's a similar app to other sorts of news reading apps that you can find on the App Store, and it incorporates news stories from different sources, and you can into this one app that you can use to view news stories, and it's got very good typography and that sort of thing. Obviously, it's designed by Apple, so it's going to look good and be optimized for Apple iOS devices. Obviously, now iOS has got the new Notes app with most of the same features that come with the OS X Capitan version. So we've got the little squiggly drawing tool over there, which is similar to markup. You can add notes to different apps. So now in the share sheet, you have a notes icon. Obviously, you've got turning list. You can note it with a photo, or you can sketch your thoughts as it's shown over here. You can obviously use iCloud Drive and Notes, and you get the same features on Maps as well. So that's quite nice to have sort of linked things. You now have Passbook, which has now been replaced by Wallet, which incorporates all your passes, all your debit or credit cards from Apple Pay. So this is sort of the main Apple Pay app now, and you can get various other loyalty cards and things. Now CarPlay is even better because now you can use it wirelessly, so don't just be plugged in, and it supports various different screens. So you can you can be used on a wide range of cars, and the screen will look all pixelated. So it's just better for different aspect ratios. And on the iPad, this is something many people have been waiting for. Not so much for me. I mean, I'm fine with the normal iPad experience, but obviously, if Apple were going to do something like this, they'd do it in a good way. Apple have now announced productivity sort of things on the iPad. Sorry, you can have side overview, which sort of means you slide in from the right, and it will come up with a different app you can sort of view side by side. You've got split view, which is currently only available on the iPad Air 2, and I think side overview is only available on selected iPads. Apple showed that in the keynote. You'll obviously be able to find that on Apple's website, probably at the bottom of the page. And the new ways of using QuickType has the more QuickType features. If I scroll down, you can see here cut, copy, paste, and we've got fonts, and you can add attachments straight using the keyboard, so it's just easier. And you can use your fingers as a trackpad, so your two fingers, you can do that sort of thing. You've got split view here, picture in picture. This is quite interesting. So while using FaceTime or watching a video, you press the home button, and the video screen will scale down, and you can drag that around and while doing something else. So that's quite a nice feature if you've only got your iPad to hand, and if you want to FaceTime someone instead of having open on your Mac as well, you can use your iPad while FaceTiming the person. So that's quite a nice feature. Obviously, I spoke about the QuickType, and now Siri has become much smarter. You can ask her to do many new things. As you can see here, you've got this new sort of design at the bottom, new Siri speaker, and you've got all kinds of things. So you can now show you photos if you give specific locations. Siri can remind you to do this when you get to certain places. And now there's a new search. So with iOS 7, Apple introduced this pull down to search, but now they've moved back to the old sort of iOS 6 slide to the end, which gives many more suggestions now. So sports, weather forecasts, we just click here, stock prices, calculation, conversions, quick connections, and you can sort of search deeper in between apps, so that's very nice. A head start on every search, so it looks at relevant people, nearby places, suggested apps, and things in the news as well. Obviously, it uses data from the new news app. You can have, obviously, better Siri, so it can listen to music, which was already in iOS 8, and now if you plug your headphones in, iOS 9 recognises you want to finish a podcast, so you started earlier, and it will start playing music automatically. And same with emails, and say with the invitations, like I spoke about in El Capitan. Obviously, there's more enhancements to performance, longer battery life, an hour additional battery life, which is very nice. And it takes up less space now to update to iOS 9. Many of you will remember iOS 8 took a lot of space. In fact, I had to clear out quite a lot because my iPhone is 16 gigs. because I normally stick to 16 gigs on my iPhone. My iPad I didn't have a problem because that's always been 64. However, my iPhone I had to free up a lot of space, so that's a thing. Good thing that they've now reduced it to 1.3 gigabytes. We've now obviously faster, more responsive things in the OS. You've got improved security, so that's nice. Obviously, Apple devices are very secure with Touch ID, but this is good. And you now have a 6-digit passcode, so if you're using Touch ID, if you have a passcode on that, it has 6 digits instead of 4, so it's harder to break the combinations. So obviously here you can see it says that there are 1 million possible combinations instead of 10,000 your passcode, so obviously it'll be harder to crack. And now we've got two-factor authentication. So although if Touch ID fails, usually you'd have to type your passcode in, but now you'll have to type your 6-digit passcode, and you'll have to, I think, enter your Apple ID password, which is a very nice feature. And Android migration is a new feature that I found I think that's going to be very good. So it's an app you can get on your Android devices, and if you're moving from Android to iOS, which obviously Apple hope many people will be doing, and the stats have been showing that, you can download this app on your Android device, and it will transfer most of your content that's compatible on the iPhone. Obviously, most of it will be, and it also prompts you that you can recycle your Android phone at an Apple store. So obviously they've got the public beta, which will be available next month. I may be getting that, so I can do a few videos on that. And there's obviously SDK stuff. iOS 9 will be compatible with every device that was compatible with iOS 8, so iPhone 4S and above, iPad 2 and above, and iPad mini and above, and iPod Touch 5th generation. So that's a look at iOS 9. We go back to the top again. I'll probably use the scroll bar at the side because I'm a bit lazy. Apple logo. Let's go to this thing, which is iOS 9. Here we have watchOS 2. Now this is sort of the 2nd generation watchOS, just adding a few more features. You can add custom faces, so use your own photos for faces, and you can use time lapses of various cities around the world. So you got Hong Kong, London, Mac Lake, New York, and Shanghai. So they sort of incorporate time lapse. You can use your own photos or a photo album. So every time you lift your wrist, you will see a different photo. There's more ways of customizing your complications on your Apple Watch. Obviously, you click here to view different views. You can sort of use this new time travel feature, which, well, obviously I don't have an Apple Watch, so I can't really take advantage of any of these features, but in the event that I do get on, this looks quite an interesting, obviously, feature. You can obviously go on Apple's website and find out. There's a new nightstand mode, which is very interesting, because people were complaining about how you can accidentally push your Apple Watch off or something, but now it's easier to see it when you're sleeping, so that's nice. And obviously more apps can be run natively on the Apple Watch, and Apple have given developers the opportunity to do more with their apps. And they have new functions in the apps, and you can add more friends into your friend circle, and you can send more colourful sketches using digital touch. So you can obviously up here change the colour in up here, and yeah, if I click replay, as you can see, you just choose your colour and then draw what you want to do. You can get transit information obviously now on your wrist, and you can use the same cards and added features with Apple Pay on your Apple Watch as well. You've got the new Siri stuff, and protect your Apple Watch's activation lock, so similar to the security stuff in iOS 9. Obviously they've got opportunities for developers as well. Obviously, yeah, as I said, I don't have an Apple Watch, so hopefully I'll get one, well, whenever. But yeah, so that was a look at what was announced at WWDC. I will be getting the iOS 9 preview when I can, if I can. I will not be getting the El Capitan preview. I'll wait for that to come in the fall, because obviously I use my Mac as my main machine, and if it's a beta, so it will have problems, and if I manage to sort of spot any major problems, that could be a problem for me, seeing as my Mac is my main machine. I need it to be working properly at all times, so we'll see how that goes. But that was a look at what was announced at WWDC 2015. If you have any questions or comments, you can post them below or email me. The address will be up at the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.